Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Ebel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and join me today for this video where I want to chat about self-sabotage and specifically how we self-sabotage our weight loss and getting healthy, because it can be scary to get smaller and skinnier and thinner. And it can feel safer to have this layer of protection around us in the form of extra weight. I want to talk about this because it was only maybe 2 years ago that I realized this was something I did, that I realized that there was times in my life when things were going good and I was getting healthy and feeling good about myself, and so then I would self-sabotage. So the thing about self-sabotage is we don't do it consciously. We don't consciously say, hey, life's going pretty good, I think I'll go screw that up right now. Like, self-sabotage is a subconscious behavior. I really recommend the book The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. I've read that book a dozen times and I love it. That book is what opened my eyes up to this self-sabotage behavior, and we do it in all areas of our life, whether it's relationships, friendships, career, our health. So it was after reading this book that I started thinking about this concept of how it does feel safer to be heavier and how it can feel scary and unsafe to start losing weight and to start getting attention that you may or may not want. So I can only speak for myself, and I won't assume that all women feel this way, but I have heard other women talk about this in a joking sort of manner on social media of like, no one can kidnap me, you think you're gonna pick this up and put it in a truck kind of joke. Or women making jokes about being overweight and feeling unattractive, so like they don't fear being sexually assaulted because thinking that sexual assault only happens to like thin, attractive women. Which obviously it doesn't. Women of all shapes and sizes are sexually assaulted, but again, I can only speak for myself, but personally, when I have been 50 plus pounds overweight, I've never been like catcalled in the street. I've never felt like threatened by strangers making comments at me. But when I've been thinner, I have been catcalled like that in the street in a way that makes me feel extremely unsafe. I've been more overweight the last couple years and kind of forgot what those comments were like. And then after losing 25 pounds this spring, I was walking into a store, and when I like glanced over my shoulder to make sure I wasn't cutting off like someone walking into the store, this guy is just like, yeah, I'm staring. What? Why? Why do people make these comments? Why do you think that makes me feel good? I don't understand the catcall type of behavior that, like, grow up and treat people with respect. I don't know what else to say. So 2 years ago, after I read The Big Leap, is when I started connecting these dots and seeing how I had self-sabotaged weight loss and being healthy in my past. I started seeing a pattern in my life of things going good and me feeling pretty happy and usually pretty healthy. I find that my health and happiness are really tied together, especially when I look back on my life. I can see how depression always leads to weight gain and more depression and more weight gain, and it's been a cycle. And so I started seeing now the pattern of like things would be going good with my job and I'd be exercising and feeling healthier and maybe losing some weight, and I'd start feeling pretty good and happy with my life. And I think in the past it was often a mystery to me of why I would start screwing things up or start feeling depressed or just like my life would just start going kind of downhill. And that's the other part of self-sabotage that Gay Hendricks talks about, is we hit these upper limits in our life. Like we think that's as good as life can get, or that's as good as we're allowed to have it. And so it's a subconscious behavior again, but we get to a place in life where things are good and then we self-sabotage and we just take our life downhill. You should really read the book to get all the like psychology behind it, but when I learned this, it just made so much sense. I have discovered that one of my biggest fears is feeling unsafe. And that can be like my environment and where I live. It can be like the people I'm hanging around with. It can be my financial situation, my job. But I've discovered that I just have a lot of fear around not being safe. And when I look back on my life, I feel like I've used my weight as a protection and to feel safe. Because I've had these instances in my life of being smaller, thinner, and feeling unsafe. So I know that there's definitely been times in my life when being overweight has kept me from like pursuing things, you know, usually dating and relationships, but also just friendships, just being social. I've been at yoga trainings like where I've been like the biggest yoga teacher in the room and felt like uncomfortable. So I don't want to speak up, ask questions, you know. So learning about self-sabotage has really opened my eyes to how I've self-sabotaged in the past and how I'm trying to stop myself from doing that in the future. Just because I've used my weight as a layer of protection and sort of a buffer against the outside world doesn't mean that I have to continue to do that. So if you suspect that something is holding you back and you can't figure it out, or you feel like you always get to this place in life but you don't go beyond that, like, I really suggest reading The Big Leap. It was so eye-opening for me. I've talked about The Big Leap in quite a few other of my YouTube videos because I love it so much. It really did change my life. It really was one of those books that I think will always be in like my top 5 now. So thank you for stopping by my channel today to watch this video. I hope that you found it helpful. I hope that you go read The Big Leap, and I hope you have a great day. Be well.